I'm good.
How you been,
are
Evan?
you?
No, I've been good. We had Thanksgiving, and
That's
that
good.
was good. Yeah, we nice and small. I know that you worked all Thanksgiving, which sucks.
Yeah, we thankfully were only open until like 5 p.m., which is not the end of the world, but it was still just like, I requested off like a couple months ago, and like, I don't know, like, I'm nothing against working as I do work so fucking much, but I was like, can I please have a holiday off? Can I please? Because I've worked every holiday this year. My manager said I'll have off on Christmas, but I was like, oh, what a treat. Like, thank you so much. It's not like I requested off for every other holiday that I had plans to do things.
Oh my god. Yeah, thankfully my sister's mall wasn't open on Thanksgiving, but she did work all day Black Friday. Like, she worked from 2 to 11 p.m. on Black Friday.
That's crazy. I'm glad I didn't work on Black Friday, but, like, we're not close enough to the mall that I don't think we would have really gotten, like, crazy shoppers or anything. But I went Black Friday shopping yesterday, and me and my friend were like, yeah, we're not gonna go to the mall, because, like, in our area, like, things are taken pretty seriously in, like, Maryland, but that mall, from people I know working at the mall, they do not follow guidelines, they do not stop it at half capacity, blah, 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 blah.
Oh yeah, my sister is fucking brave for going to work. You would not catch my ass in a mall right now. No.
Yeah, I've been to the mall maybe once since COVID started, and that was to buy a pair of pants.
Yeah, Target is the most populated I'll get. That's it.
Yeah, so we only went to, like, a couple places last night. So we went to, like, Urban Outfitters, we went to Target yesterday, and then we went to, like, DSW.
So yeah, it was the holiday and it was Black Friday, but since last time we recorded, which was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
We have a new president, even though the old one is a little toddler baby that won't give up. But we have a new president, and Destiel went canon, but only halfway. But then it didn't. But then it did in Spanish. But then Misha backed it up. But then he was like, "Wait, sorry, I spoke out of turn." But then it did again in Italian. So I know this is a shameless podcast, but Supernatural had me feeling it this week.
Supernatural got me whipped, and that show ended like 2 weeks ago.
Like, my lord, I originally made a TikTok saying, like, the finale was good, and you know what, I stand by that, like, in context of, like, I don't believe they could have ended the show with both of the brothers living on Earth having not died yet. I feel like we had to see them cross over into heaven.
Like, my whole thing was that, like, I wasn't upset that Dean died. It was the way they made him die.
Oh yeah, it was so clearly that they cut out any Destiel they had in the last couple episodes and made it a Sam-centric finale so that Walker fans would stay engaged.
Like, the one thing that just kind of blows my mind is that the majority of their seasons, like, they wrap up at the very end. But it felt like they ended the season in episode 19.
And this was an epilogue.
Yeah, and then I felt like, I did not feel fed in the last episode. Like, not even, like, caring about the Destiel bullshit anymore, just because, like, I got my satisfaction from the 18th episode. But at least mention him. At least not, like, kill Dean off during a hunt, and then have Sam grow, then have Dean, okay, the way they edited it made it seem like Dean drove for 40 years, and then Sam died.
Bobby does say, like, time works different here up in heaven, so it could have been, like, 5 minutes.
The way everything was formatted and just, like, executed, I was like, I'm very not satisfied. Like, as much as this show has, like, been in my life for so long, and, like, it just did not feel like Supernatural. And I think I know there's a lot of people raging more so about the Destiel stuff, but I feel like I'm more mad just as a viewer point, being like, 15 years for the last episode to be cringy, a plot-driven fucking thing for the first 30 minutes. So when the first 30 minutes happened, me and Sebastian looked at each other, and we were like, there's 30 minutes left? We're like, the fuck? Dean just died.
And, like, I sort of, like, again, I think they both needed to die for the show to end, but, like, the way that he died, that your son is literally God. Like, you were impaled on a nail and you couldn't be like, homeboy, can you do me a favor?
I don't know if you actually went back and watched, like, a lot of the seasons that weren't, like...
I'm going to, once I finish Dexter, I'm gonna do it.
So,
So what I'm getting is that, like, obviously you haven't been watching consecutively with the last couple of seasons. You've only been seeing, like, the main hype episodes, basically. But when I tell you, I have spent the last 3 seasons...
Oh, I've been watching.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah. I, like, dropped out of it at, like, 13 and a half, and then when I found out 15 was the last season, I went back and just finished.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you felt the same way, but I felt the last way for the last 3 goddamn seasons, caring and rooting and... like, loving Jack so much for him to be the main, like, plot-driven character for the last 3 seasons, because he's the main person they need for anything happening in any of the last 3 seasons. And the fact they just turned him into God in a 20-minute fight sequence, and then he's gone forever, that's not the Jack that we met, the one who's just like, I'm gonna leave now. Obviously, now he has God power, so he has a different viewpoint on things like that. But I'm like, how can you take this character for the last 3 seasons, butter him up, and then ship him away?
Because they don't know how to finish anything on Supernatural. I'm so sorry, y'all. We know this is a shameless podcast, but Supernatural...
It's CW. We just have to get mad.
And I feel like it goes hand in hand. If you are an Ian and Mickey fan, and you love, damaged boys with daddy issues who are definitely queer... You love Dean Winchester.
Why do you think Dean and Mickey are my favorite characters?
They would get along so well. They would vibe together.
So well. You know, like, and if Mickey knew monsters were real, you know that boy would be geeking out.
100%. 100%. But this is a shameless podcast.
This is a shameless recap podcast.
Maybe we should do that. Like I said, we've been gone for a little while. Today is November 28th. This will drop pretty soon, actually. We were... You know, the holidays and everything got us lagging, but we getting this shit done. So we're going to jump into it, everybody. Welcome back to the Luck We Had, a Shameless Recap podcast. I am your host, Amanda.
And I'm your other host, Evan. Welcome back, everybody.
And we're glad to have you. And we are going to jump in with Season 2, Episode 5, Father's Day, because this is the show where we recap episodes of Shameless and give our opinions on them.
Yes. Also, before we go right into it, we can... proudly say that we have gotten a couple promos for season 11 of Shameless.
It's a scavenger hunt. It's been a scavenger hunt. We got one actual promo, and then some are only on YouTube advertisements, and we've only seen them because fans have been screen recording them and posting them on Twitter. What?
Like, that whole thing, it was like, maybe we shorten it to Galovich, and Mickey's like, that's fucking stupid.
Gallagher Milkovich Security. Galovich. That's a fucking stupid name.
I feel like they were so hefty on the Galovich, and fucking the fact that they made the episode Galovich Wedding or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like I am a clown. I will ride this into the circus forever, but I am hoping that, like, the synopsis they put out for the first 3 episodes, the honeymoon phase is over. Mickey's having trouble not being a criminal, and they fight over who the man is in the relationship. I really hope that the fight over who the man is thing is them just deciding whose last name to take. Like, I really hope that is what that plot point actually is.
Losers should just hyphen it. It's not that hard.
Honestly. Or just, like, but I do love that in the whole actual promo that we got that was like, we have to clear this neighborhood of the Milkovich scourge. The only one you got reminded was a Milkovich was Sandy, because Mickey's a Gallagher now.
Yeah, and then also... Debbie's hooking up with Sandy.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, she did the once, I think, in the previous season, and then now it seems like they're like, oh my god. Also, I saw that one clip of, Sandy and, why do I always forget Lip's girlfriend's name? Tammy. There's, like, a clip of, like, Tammy, Sandy, and Franny, and they're, like, Sandy and, Tammy are, like, playing, like, lightsabers.
In, like, the dollar store, yeah. Oh my god. And, oh my god, the tiny clip of Franny with the fake gun and Mickey chasing her with the fake gun. Uncle Mickey, I'm so excited for Uncle Mickey.
And that video of her literally, like, running around with, like, a fucking, like, AK. Just running through the living room.
I'm gonna die with Franny and Uncle Mickey. He's gonna be so good with that kid. I'm so excited.
Honestly, by the way we record, episode 1 might be out by the time we record the next episode. So we need to figure out if we're gonna do that thing where we do, like, a segment in the beginning of the episode, or if we're gonna do mini podcasts.
I 100% think we should do it. I don't know. I feel like it depends on when we're able to record. But, like, I think at the very least we should do a segment at the top, and then when I'm done editing, I'll go back and see where that timestamp lands, and I'll be like, so, around this time is when we stop talking about season 11 if you don't want to get spoiled, and jump ahead.
Just edit in something.
Yeah, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Me too.
But in order to get to season 11, we gotta get through some other fucking seasons, man. So...
Yeah, we do.
This episode is... you know what, I didn't vibe with it a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and say some of the episodes are not that great. And this is one of them. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna get through it. There might be some good parts that I forgot about. I took these notes a while ago. So... But let's get into it. Season 2, Episode 5, Father's Day. It premiered February 5th, 2012. I was 17? I was 17.
I was 11.
It was written by Ethan Frankel and Stan Frankel and LaToya Morgan. Ethan Frankel, this is his second of 13 Shameless episodes he has written on through 2016. He's also written on Gossip Girl, Friday Night Lights, Southland, Animal Kingdom, Get Shorty, bunch of other shit. Animal Kingdom is also... Emmy directed an episode of it. It's got heavy shamelessness in it. And it also disappoints with their queer relationship. So, there's that.
I think I've seen that show before.
I literally jumped on it because I heard there was a queer relationship in it. And I watched it and then I was disappointed. And it was upsetting.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Not as bad as Supernatural, but like pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then Stan Frankel. This is literally Stan Frankel's only credit on all of IMDb. So I don't know who this man is.
He died after Shameless.
Yeah. Maybe they put Ethan Frankel twice and misspelled it once. Like, maybe this man isn't even real. Who knows? And then LaToya Morgan, we credit her every week. She was on staff writer on 12 episodes. She's written a bunch of other shit. You can go back and listen to our other stuff to listen to
We talk about her
credits.
every single episode.
Yeah. This episode was directed, of course, John Wells and Paul Abbott are also credited as writers on every episode, but that's just because they're in charge.
They're the head writers.
This episode was directed by Anthony Hemingway. This is his first of 7 Shameless episodes. He will direct through 2017, including Season 3's Cascading Failures and Season 4's Emily. This man directs Galavich-centric episodes.
This man knows what he wants.
They aren't Galavich-centric episodes. They're just big episodes for Galavich, and those are the only plot points I remember from Cascading Failures. And Emily, 306 and 411, fuck me up. His other credits include Treme, CSI New York, American Crime Story, The Newsroom, Glee, a bunch of other shit. That's right, Glee. Also, we're not going to talk about the nightmare that is Matthew Morrison as the Grinch. That's a hate crime.
My 2 cents is, I was in the Glee fandom before it was a TikTok trend, and the amount of funny jokes we would make about Matthew Morrison and the fact that now it's just a meme, I was the blueprint.
He's a trigger warning on TikTok. Trigger warning, Matthew Morrison. His existence is a hate crime.
That's so funny. He's such... oh my god. Like, he's a trip and a half. I saw this, I know we're going off track again, but I saw this clip of him, like, dancing, and it was, like, all the comments were freaking out, and I, like, looked at the video again, and I was like, I was there for that.
Oh my god.
Not many people know I've met Matthew Morrison.
No fucking way.
I met him when I was in 8th grade. It was when he was in Finding Neverland on Broadway.
Oh my God.
I didn't see Finding Neverland, but I was in New York at the time, so I stage doored. And when I tell you my photo with him is literally the scariest thing in the entire world.
Oh my God.
Like, I look whack because I'm 13 and I don't know.
You have to text that to me and I'll put it on the Instagram.
No.
I'll put a trigger warning before it. Trigger warning Matthew Morrison. But I'm absolutely putting that on the Instagram.
Like, I don't know. Like, he was nice, but I could tell he was just so fucking exhausted from his show. But I was, like, kind of disappointed. I was like, you're meeting all of these fans and my interaction was shitty. What? Like, Hold on, I think I found it. I'll show you. The
only time I ever stage doored was for Idina Menzel's If Then, and it was only because I bust in with my class, and it was a matinee, so when we got out, the bus just hadn't gotten to us yet, so we just stage doored and waited, and I leaned on the hood of her car and got an autograph from Anthony Rapp and Idina Menzel.
You met Anthony Rapp?
Yeah. Yep.
I love him so much.
So I have a playbill that Idina Menzel and Anthony Rapp have both touched. It's
Honestly,
framed on
your
my wall.
power.
My power.
Anyways, we're a shameless recap podcast.
Sorry for the tangents. We're a shameless recap podcast. So the synopsis of this episode, Father's Day, is Frank tries to claim Eddie's insurance benefits and pension despite being a prime suspect in his death. Fiona attends a ritzy wedding with Richard and lies about her background. That's it. That's the whole synopsis for this episode. Frank and Fiona. The previously on in this episode was done by Lip. And then we get a recap. Eddie jumping into the ice river and killing himself. Ethel has a crush on Malik. Lip is doing West Point research for Ian. Little Hank exists.
Little Hank is here.
Jasmine is trying to hook Fiona up with someone.
And also hook up with Fiona.
Then there's a scene of a man inviting Fiona to this wedding. I straight up don't remember this scene happening.
I don't, because I remember when this scene, like, picks up, like, when the episode starts, they're already at the wedding, or she has to say he's picking her up.
Getting ready for it.
Yeah, getting ready for the wedding, and then she has to, like, say she's being picked up at another thing. But I'm like, we never met him yet.
In the recap, there's a scene of him inviting her to the wedding, and, like, that straight up was not in last week's episode.
Mm-mm.
It just
Yeah,
wasn't.
no, it just in the episode. And I don't remember, is it one of the men that she slept with before that Jasmine's brought, or is it it's a new guy?
Yeah, it's one of the guys that Jasmine brought to the club, and, like, Fiona was making small talk with him, then she found out he was married, and she left.
Yeah, that guy, and he was like, are you into that? And she was like, no.
So there's, like, a whole story chunk that just wasn't there, and now she's just going on a date with this guy.
That's so weird.
These writers
I
are
didn't think
inconsistent.
about that.
Anyway, Karen is pregnant. We are to assume it's Lips. Sheila had a part of a plane fall in front of her and re-traumatize her all over again as she...
All that progress.
I know. So then we open at a boat party where some randoms find something yet to be identified floating in the water. It's Eddie's body. The ice melted and Eddie floated on over to this boat party, and some rich people found Eddie's bloated corpse in the sea. So that's how we open the episode. And then we go to the Gallagher house, where Carl is apparently renting out Frank's room again. The only cash you could think of getting that didn't involve swallowing drugs. There's a scene of him, like, almost becoming a drug mule. A little cutaway. And so he's renting it out to a sex worker, and Fiona is super pissed about it and wants her the fuck out of the house. And then he and Little Hank tried to drill a hole in the wall to the room the woman is staying in so that they could charge people to watch.
The amount of demolition they do to this house and then get away with and the house still stands blows my mind.
Also, just on the record, we are pro-sex worker here. We don't appreciate sex worker, like, derogatory jokes. Like, it's storyline. I hate it.
They, like... You would think because of the way Shameless is, they are very pro.
V is literally a sex worker.
Yeah, but I think of it as in they are very prominent with a lot of those topics on the show, but then realistically the way they execute them is a very negative, derogatory way, so it's like, we get it, but then they're rude about it.
Yeah.
You're like, yay, representation. Oh, bad representation. Everyone's mean to this character because of that trait, etc., etc.
Except V.
Except V. Everyone gives her such a high platform, and then if anyone else fucks for money, they're like, shame. And I'm like, where do you live? What else have you done in your life? You're shameless, for fuck's sake.
V is getting that money. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Speaking of sex workers, there's like a hint of like people assuming Fiona is a sex worker in this episode that we will get to later.
I feel like a lot of people, even though like it's not, sometimes put like more like go-go dancer-esque kind of jobs like that in that department, but I don't feel like we ever really see Fiona actually like go for it because she'd be working all the other jobs realistically.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Ian was a sex worker for a minute there.
Like he did like the standard like go-go boy thing where like, yeah, you're a go-go dancer, but then you do go home with people at night for money, but also like get that coin.
But that was also a bipolar manic episode, and that was we'll get to that later.
About that.
Anyway, so sorry. We once again have stopped giving a shit about doing spoilers. We will for season 11. We'll put a cap on our
This
mouths.
show's been out for a decade.
Yeah, season 11. We will mark the part where we talk about it, and I'll cut out anything else that we say throughout the episode because like that's not fair for something that's currently airing for us to spoil. But still, so Fiona is going to the wedding. The guy Fiona's going to the wedding with calls her again in the middle of her like morning chaos to confirm their date that we never saw them make. And then he tells her there's no pressure to have sex just because they're going to a wedding together. Oh, how chivalrous of you. And then Fiona, he's like, where should I pick you up? And Fiona lies about where she lives.
She says she, like, lives in some, like, random, like, hotel, right? That's not on the south side. It's on the north side, right?
I think it's, like, a fancy apartment building. But, yeah, it's somewhere on the north side. She gives him a address for. So she's hiding a little bit from this guy. And then we go over to the Jacksons, where Jody is cooking breakfast for Sheila. And for fuck's sake, this is the episode where Frank has puke on his shirt the whole time.
I hate, like, shameless wardrobe department needs so much credit, but ew.
I so distinctly remember this episode. I hate this so much. So the cops come knocking on the door, and Frank has to tell Sheila, who will not leave her bedroom, that Eddie's body got found, which just makes her cry and close the door back in the room.
Yeah, girl's already going through it, and now she has to hear that.
Like, she won't even leave her room to go to the bathroom. It's really upsetting. And then Jody goes into the bathroom to tell Karen that her dad is dead, but she is pregnant and horny and ignores the news of her dad's death so that she can suck Jody's dick.
They want us to like Karen sometimes, and I say no. I do not like this girl. I do not want to talk about this girl.
But the himbo that is Jody, we love and respect that man.
He deserves so much better.
And then back at the Gallaghers, little Hank is dragging Carl down to his level, being creepy, and Debbie is still crushing on this shitbag. And Ian tells her, she's like, oh, little Hank likes knives. Where can I get a knife? And Ian tells her where to get a knife. Man.
You ask a 15, 16-year-old where to buy a weapon, they'll tell you where to buy a weapon.
I wonder where Ian got that information. Perhaps his violent not boyfriend, Mickey Milkovich?
Oh, I was both sipping our coffee after you say that.
So then Fiona is very worried about Lip because he's like sort of catatonic after the news of the baby.
I feel like they never really, like, yeah, we saw Lip spiral, but more in a manic, more than, like, his actual emotional feelings about the baby. Because, of course, like, Shameless doesn't really, when they do dive into, like, more, like, internal emotions, they sometimes do it a really good well. But I feel like the way with Lip is they were like, he's angry and wants the baby, instead of, like, him actually processing, fuck, Karen might have my kid.
Yeah, he's got, like, man rage. But yeah, so Debbie goes up to check on him and ask what it was about Karen that Lip liked in the first place. Stop asking these dumb men for dating advice, Debbie. It's a bad idea. They don't have good things to tell you. And then Lip explains that attraction is mostly chemicals. That's like pretty much all he says. And then he goes into Fiona's room to smoke some weed and talk about the Karen situation and try to figure out the odds of Lip being the dad. And Fiona's like, I'm not your mother, and I'm also not raising another fucking kid. And she slaps him on the side of the head like a mom would do.
They're all still so young, and she's like, get some sense knocked into you, fucking kid.
And then back at the Jacksons, Frank goes to comfort Sheila, and like, I honestly sort of believe he wants to make her feel better, except no, he doesn't. He's trying to figure out how to get Eddie's pension.
Yeah. Because I feel like deep down, Frank does have a lot of love for Sheila, but then the way Frank is executed in the show is that, yeah, he has good intentions, but anything involving money, drugs, and substances are always at the top. Like, that's the first thing. Everything else comes second. Like, that's the one thing that I'm like, I know he has emotion, but he's the worst.
And then poor Sheila, she's in so much pain. She deserves, like, an actual shoulder to cry on and support her, and she has Frank and Karen.
Anytime we've seen Frank give any emotional advice, we're like, no. Like, he always has the worst intentions.
And then over at the balls, V tells Ethel all the different words for crack someone at the playground will offer her. And Ethel's like, thank you. Thank you for that information. Like, it's so sweet. And then Ethel says Malik is the best player on the team, and she has such a crush on him.
Dude, they're so cute.
And then V's like, wait, Malik skipped last night's game? But no, he didn't. There was no game last night. Kev lied to her.
Ooh.
What's that about? V is not the kind of woman you go ahead and lie to. She will ruin you. And then Frank goes into the alibi, and he tells the bar that Eddie is dead. and that his pension / life insurance is about to kick in. And Kev's like, yeah, you might want to hold off on celebrating because the police are sniffing around because his death was suspicious. Because they're not convinced it was suicide because Eddie had been roaming around the South Side saying how much he was going to murder Frank for sleeping with his daughter.
So of course everyone's gonna be like, yeah, Frank killed him.
Yeah. So Frank's like, oh shit, the cops are looking at me for all of this? And like, literally anything Frank has done could come to light with the cops looking at him. All the scams and the Social Security, like, shit that he's pulling, like, he could be in for it.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, over with Debbie and Fiona. Debbie is wearing Fiona's clothes, and Fiona puts a hard no on that shit. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? Take my clothes off and go change. You're not an adult. And then we go to Frank. Speaking of not an adult, we go to Frank walking down the street. Every siren he hears, he's ducking, he's bobbing, he's weaving, he's worried. And then he goes into the Gallagher house and he says, Ian, I need an alibi. To Carl. And Carl's like, my name is Carl. Like, I don't know if that was like a genuine William H. Macy slip up that they just rolled with.
I feel like if it was, that was so good on their part for keeping it in. And shout out to fucking Ethan for just being like, I'm Carl.
So then Frank asks Lip for help, and Lip drops the baby news about Karen. Like, Frank's like trying to get an alibi, and Lip's like, so Karen's pregnant. Like, just, and they have those again and again we see these conversations where two people are having a conversation, but like pretty much with themselves, talking about the thing they want to talk about.
Yeah.
Without acknowledging each other. And then we go over to the balls again. So V is freaking about Kev lying to her, but Fiona has come over to like tuck the tag into her dress and get pretty and borrow some shoes for the wedding.
Is this the part when V like rips off the tag on her dress and she was like, I have a tag gun, or is that an old episode?
That was in the first episode. In this one, she was like, I lost my tag gun, just tuck the tag in, you'll be fine. So yeah, Fiona is coming over, she wants to borrow some heels for the wedding. Then V finds a dirty note, like a misspelled dirty note in Kev's pocket. And she's like, holy fuck, Kev is cheating on me. And Fiona tries to simmer her down. She's like, Fiona, Kev's a bartender. People flirt with him all the time. People pass him notes all the time. It's just part of the job. Like, don't fucking worry about this. Kev would never cheat on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, Fiona gets some shoes from V, and she tells V that she, like, told the guy to meet her on the north side. She's pretending to live on the north side. And V's like... So V's, like, all the way over in her own little world. She doesn't have time for Fiona's issues. But back at the Gallaghers, Frank is talking about how fertile the Gallagher men are as he tries to give Lip a talk about being a good parent. Frank.
The
Gallagher.
best person to give that advice.
He says the best gift you can give is neglect. Neglect fosters self-reliance. Go fuck yourself, Frank Gallagher. And then he asks Lip for an alibi, and, like, tells Lip that Eddie is dead, and Frank needs an alibi. And Lip is like, I'm not giving you an alibi, but I am gonna go check on Karen. Holy shit, her dad is dead. But yeah, so then Frank asks Ian for an alibi, and Ian's like, go fuck yourself. No, try Terry Milkovich. Lying to cops is his specialty. Oh, why were the Milkoviches on the brain there, Ian?
I wonder why that is, Ian.
Frank and Terry both just going away would be such a service to the show. I sort of love that in season 11 they're going to be warring, because I hope it ends with Terry either dying or being arrested again.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Because it seems like they all are against them this season, and I'm like, yes! Even their own kin at this point are against them, and I'm like, yes.
And they fully had Terry move in across the street from them, because the Milkovich house got torn down. They don't want to use any old B-roll, and they just want to...
Yeah, so they're like, let's make them move in next door.
Yeah. They're like, we're building a backlot anyway, let's just build the other side of the street. And so then Carl's renter, the sex worker, comes downstairs with a client and gets paid at the door, even though Fiona said you cannot work at the house. And then we go over to Ethel and Malik, pushing their kids in strollers down the street, being so fucking cute with each other.
They're so cute together.
And they're talking about their kids being on accident, Malik, versus being on purpose, Ethel. Like, they tried to get her pregnant.
That hurts different.
She sort of admits to being, like, violently raped, like, held
basically
down.
like
statutory rape. They were like,
not statutory, she was held down.
Oh yeah, because they were like, yeah, they had to hold me down. It hurt at first, but then I blacked out or something, and I was like, girl, what?
And Malik seems so worried about that. He takes it all in, and the way he processes it is very like, you're taking this very well. But he's like, that is traumatizing, what she is telling me. And then she's like, I hope somebody takes care of my husband in prison. And Malik's like, yeah, I do too. They are not talking about taking care in the same way. Not at all.
Nope.
She's like, I hope somebody, like, makes sure he takes his blood pressure medication. And Malik's like, I hope somebody fucking takes care of that guy. And then over to the alibi, V traps Kev into lying about the game last night. And Kev is a spectacular liar. And, like, brings up a whole thing about Malik getting a 3-pointer. Like, it's a doozy of a lie. And you can see V's heat just get turned up all the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go back to the Jacksons. Lip asks Karen if she needs an alibi for Eddie's death. And he says a good way to get back at Eddie would be to fuck on his grave. And they, like, sort of have a little banter. And then Lip asks if the baby is a boy or a girl. And I think Karen confirms it's a boy. And then he gives Karen pregnancy advice.
I'm not the smartest in pregnancy, but I feel like it's very soon to already know the gender. If we just found out she was pregnant last episode. But also, I feel like we have to think about it. Pregnancy in Shameless isn't real, i.e. Kevin V's kids and when Svetlana was pregnant.
Time doesn't matter with pregnancy in this show. It's magical or it lasts 18 years. Like, it's crazy.
It's one or the other. There's no in between.
But, like, the way he's acting about Karen and taking care of the baby and, like, the earnest in his eyes, he wants to be a dad so badly. It hurts. It hurts so much to see it. Like, oh my god.
Take it from the viewpoint that he knows how shitty Frank is, and he's like, fuck, I need to not be that to my kid.
And Karen lives to hurt Lip. She lives to hurt him. And she's like, you're not the dad. Jody's the dad. We got married at City Hall. Jody's the dad. You get the fuck out of my house. Like, oh my god. And then over on the north side, Fiona goes to meet up with the wedding date guy, and he gives her a super expensive diamond necklace to wear to the wedding, to, like, dress her up a little bit.
I hate that, like, he was like, you look too poor still.
It's like a whole Pretty Woman situation. It's just like, wear this.
I feel like that's what it was for him.
And then at the alibi, Kev is, like, feeding Ethel and Debbie, like, chicken fingers or something, and he offers to watch Jonah so that Debbie and Ethel could go to an annual barbecue that happens in the South Side, called Independence Day. It is not on Independence Day. It is the anniversary of a woman who murdered her abusive husband in his sleep because he used to beat her and her children. She's in prison, but the entire neighborhood has a barbecue for her every year. And honestly, iconic.
That's so good. That's like South Side, like, that's how you know that's a community.
It's like, yeah, that guy was a fucking asshole. Let's celebrate the day she murdered him every year with a barbecue. It's fantastic. I love it. So he offers to watch Jonah so that Debbie and Ethel can go enjoy it. And Kev points out, he's like, you know, Malik is totally into you. And Ethel's like, damn, too bad I'm married. We should have met when I was 11. Debbie goes to Kev for dating advice. And the only man that she should listen to in this scenario is, in fact, Kev. Because he correctly points out that men are stupid. And then he's worried that Debbie is going to slap him. Because whenever... He's like, oh, whenever I get real with V, I say a thing and then she slaps me in the face. I'm like, yeah, it's probably because you're dumb, because men are dumb. And then up in Sheila's bedroom, Karen gives Sheila information about, like, Eddie's gravesite, because Karen has been doing all the funeral prep. And she gets emotional, like, for feeling guilty for grieving her piece of shit dad in the first place. She's like, I shouldn't be sad that he is gone. And Sheila's like, he was still your dad. You get to be sad about this.
Yeah.
And then Sheila says Eddie is going to miss out on the best grandkid ever. And she shows Karen all the baby stuff she's been looking up in magazines. And like, oh god, Sheila's going to be such a good grandma. And then back at the alibi, we get a scene of Terry Milkovich and Frank. Frank is asking for an alibi, and then Terry's like, I'll give you a fucking alibi for $15,000. And then Frank asks, or maybe it's $1,500. It's an absurd amount of money. And then Frank asks Terry for a family discount because our kids are practically hitched. And, like, the statement's not wrong. It's just not the Milkovich you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, our kids are hitched. My son and your daughter. Well, your son is involved. That's right. Anyway, time for fancy rich person wedding.
let's go, and then watch Fiona get mad like we always do.
So Fiona and her date walk in, and Fiona is immediately overwhelmed by all the famous names on the guest list, like on the table, including Barbara Streisand and Oprah Winfrey.
I never noticed that. That's so funny.
Yeah, those are two of the names on the table. I'm like, whose fucking wedding is this? Anyway, one of the rich fuck wedding guests comes up to talk to her, and son of a bitch, it's Robert Gant, also known as Ben from Queer as Folk. My original, like, gay television awakening. Showtime just be recycling its actors. They really do. I've been watching Dexter, and, like, they just do be recycling their actors. And now, Robert the actor and Ben the character are both amazing. This rich asshole character, huge prick. We hate this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Fiona's date introduces them, and the guy grills her about her, like, fake college credentials, because she says she's still in college, because remember, Fiona is 21 years of age.
She's a baby.
But then, thankfully, her date, like, was like, all right, this is enough questions, and, like, steers her out of it so they can go get a drink and mingle. And then we go over to Frank. He sees cops on the street, and then just starts yelling, I have an alibi, when they just look in his general direction. And they chase him down the street and take him into custody. And somebody yells racist stuff, I wrote down. And then he gets taken over to the detective's desk, and he gets shown the video of him and Karen fucking, and whoop! He could get charged with sexual assault of a child.
And then also, like, I want to point out the fact how nasty these cops are, too. Like, they are not good guys at all. They're just raunchy cis men.
And then we go over to Kev, strolling down the street of a nice neighborhood. V is trailing behind him. And then he goes to this building and greets a pretty blonde lady at the door. And then V goes to try to storm in the building, but, like, gets locked out because it's a door that locks right behind you.
That was so funny. She was like, she prances up and then it slams and she is just like, fuck.
Then we go back to the wedding. Fiona is stuck talking to two moms, like, just in a little area. And actually, she keeps up with the kid complaining because she is a literal mother of 5. She's, like, perfectly comfortable in her element talking about kid stuff with these moms. It's actually really sweet. And then her date scoops her up. He's like, oh, I thought you were drowning. She's like, you misread that situation. I was perfectly fine in that conversation.
That was great. He's just a dumbass.
And then he takes her upstairs to, like, show off the rich person's house and all the rich person's rich famous friends, like, that he has pictures with on the wall. And then Fiona argues about his charm and then kisses him. And at this moment, I don't... if you forget the fact that he's married, at this moment, he's generally been nice and good to her, so I, like, don't fully hate this man.
Yeah, like, he's nice and he hasn't done anything bad, but you're still cheating on your wife, and you probably have kids, so...
List of people I do hate, that Holly bitch. She comes to the Gallagher door, looking for something she left at the sleepover, and finds Debbie with entirely too much makeup on, like we all did when we were little kids. We put too much makeup on our faces. And, or, like, when we just first started putting any kind of makeup on, we're like, we look like a whole clown. And then, instead of helping her like a friend would, being like, tone down the blush and being nice, she's just a total bitch about it. She's like, you look like you're gonna be a virgin forever.
She's so rude. I hate this character.
Debbie is 11. Like... And then we cut to the police station again. Frank is freaking out, as he should. And then he gets let go by the detective who had originally left to go investigate the case. And she, like, hates that she's releasing him. And Frank can't believe it. Frank's sort of like, you're just letting me go? And he sort of, like, backs out of the precinct, like, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then back at the ball house, Kev comes home. V is in her underwear, saying, get naked right now. And he's like, yes, ma'am. It's so cute. He's like, I love Mistress V. And he establishes their safe word. I love these kinky bitches. She cuffs him to the weight bench, and then she pulls out garden shears and threatens to cut off his dick. She demands to know who the woman is. And Kev's like, she's my tutor. She's teaching me how to read. And V says she doesn't. A himbo trying to learn. And V doesn't believe him. She gets dressed, and she just fucking leaves him there naked, handcuffed to the weight bench.
I love that.
And then Frank goes back to Sheila's place and goes into her bedroom and he asks Jody if the cops came by. And Jody is, like, very upset, just sitting on the couch being all quiet and broody the way Jody does. And Frank goes up to explain the whole thing to Sheila and apologize, and then Sheila is on his side about it and apologizes that her daughter assaulted him. Which isn't incorrect. Like, I'm angry that it's not incorrect.
I think it blew my mind when, like, I found out that, like, Karen took the fault in that whole, like, scene because I was like, wow, is she doing something right for once?
And, like, Frank is gross, and I would like to see Frank suffer consequences for a thing, but, like, in this situation, all Karen did was tell the truth.
For once!
She told the cops Frank was drugged up and that she took advantage of him, and, like, it's so upsetting that I'm like, this worked out the way that it should have because Karen just told the truth, even though Frank sleeping with a minor is not great, but he was out of his mind, and, like,
At least Karen, this is at least probably the one thing Karen says truthfully this season.
Can you imagine that actress is, like, her first season on a television show, her first big acting job, you're going to get naked and straddle William H. Macy.
Ew, I would be like, rip up my contract, he's 30.
But now Sheila is crying and apologizing to Frank, and that shit don't sit right with me. No. Sheila never should have to apologize to him for a damn thing. And then we go to the tutor's house. V went back. She knocks on the tutor's door. She's ready to fight. She's taking off her earrings. She's like, I'm the woman whose man you fucking. And then a little kid comes to the door and, like, calls her Miss something. And she's like, oh, fuck, this is a teacher.
I love V, but, like, girl.
She puts the earrings back on. She's like, have a nice day. Goodbye. And then, speaking of truth tellers, Karen and Frank run into each other in the hallway of the Jackson house. And he thanks her. And then she thanks him for killing Eddie, and he just simply doesn't correct her.
Because she definitely thinks he killed him, he was like, so I can't get him sent to jail because he did that favor for me, so let me tell the truth. Because, realistically, I feel like if Eddie was alive, she would have thrown him under the bus in an instant, i.e. Frank.
And then some fancy music cues up, and we go back to the wedding, where shitty rich people are being shitty and rich. And Fiona gets quartered by the Robert Gant character, and he accuses her of being a sex worker. And then he accuses her of being a gold digger. He's like, well, if you're not a sex worker, you're a gold digger. And then he threatens to tell her date the truth. He's like, you didn't go to college. I know that, like, everything you're saying was made up because I went to that school. And he's like, I'll keep your secret if you fuck me.
I hate rich people.
Fiona does not take kindly to threats. She's like, oh, you're gonna tell him the truth if I don't fuck you? Anyway, here's the truth. She just tells her date everything. She's like, I'm from the South Side. I'm not in college. And go fuck yourself. Your friends are assholes. He follows her. She storms out, and he follows her out.
Follows her. Like, what a man, but still he's on thin ice, too.
The being married is the only thing that I hate this guy for. Everything else,
Yeah.
He has been a perfect gentleman to Fiona this whole time. He follows her out. She's like, where can I catch the L from here? He's like, I don't want to be in this place with these shitty people either. Let me take you home. And so he takes her home.
Takes her home. He drives her to the South Side.
And then from one confrontation to another, Lip pounds on Karen's door and demands to know who the father is. And she, again, says, Jody is the dad. He is my husband. Jody is the dad. And Lip calls him an idiot. And she's like, quiet and nice does not make him an idiot. I'm like, And Lip is just angry, and he yells, I'm not my fucking dad, and, like, it's so sad. This fight sucks so much.
He doesn't want to be seen as Frank so badly.
He's like, you hear me? I'm not my fucking dad. Like, him with not wanting to be Frank, and Ian later on with not wanting to be Monica, it just shatters my little heart. It just kills me. Don't even get me into Mickey not wanting to be his dad, too. Like, that's a whole different wormhole.
Don't get me started.
There's no Mickey in this episode, so we just keep talking about him. And then the colonel that Lip had been talking to about West Point comes and knocks on the Gallagher door. Carl thinks he's a client for Bev, but the guy's like, no, I'm here for your brother. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because, like, doesn't, like, Carl assume it's for Ian because the guy's in, like, his whole, like, military getup or whatever?
Yeah, he's in, like, his dress uniform. So Ian comes downstairs, sees the colonel, and salutes him in his whole ROTC fashion. And he's initially super excited that this guy is in his fucking living room. He's like, oh my god, a West Point colonel is at my house. And the guy hands Ian an application, and then Ian finds out the application is for Lip. The guy is interested in Lip for West Point. And Ian gets very sad. Why can't Ian have good things? I don't want him to be in the army, but I would like him to get the things that he wants to have. So Baby Boy's heart is shattered. Speaking of shattered, Fiona is in the car on her way home with the rich guy, who admits that he's like, I know you didn't go to Princeton. Tell me your address, I will take you to your house. And she gives him her actual address in the South Side. Again, no points against this guy. This guy's passing the vibe check.
Yeah, no, he's chilling. Like, I like him.
And then we go over to Debbie again. Yet another Gallagher running to a Milkovich when they need comfort and love and help. she's at the Milkovich house to see Mandy, because Mandy is a good friend. And Debbie's like, will you make me pretty like you? Oh, baby. And Mandy's like, yeah, come in my house. She does Debbie's makeup. She tells Debbie she has beautiful eyes and to take her time growing up.
Mandy's so nice. She doesn't know that's about to be her sister-in-law.
Like, she's such a big sister to Debbie. It's so sweet. And then the moment is ruined by Terry the child predator, but we're going to ignore it because the Mandy and Debbie part of it.
We did not need that comment from Terry.
Is Mickey holding down the cash and grab on his own today? Is it closed? Because he's not at home. And he's not with Ian.
Who knows where Mickey is?
Where do Mickey be? Someone who will also be ruined by Terry Milkovich in the future. Ian is doing angry push-ups in his and Lip's room when Lip comes home complaining about Karen and the baby. And Ian's like, oh yeah, how many push-ups can you do, Lip? How many miles can you run? And he throws the West Point application at Lip. And he's like, I don't need any of your fucking help. The guy only came here for you. Do you know what an honor it is to have an officer come to your house and give you an application? Like, Ian is destroyed by this. And Lip is all fired up from the Karen thing. So they get into a whole screaming match.
They fuck each other up.
They fuck each other up! Like, because it's just building up on both of their ends, so they just explode on each other. It's a knockdown, drag-out fist fight, and, like, they honestly needed that. They needed to get some shit out of their system.
To get their anger out.
Do I wish they stopped trying to solve Ian's personal relationship problems with his fucking fists? Surely I do.
But I feel like I feel like they didn't really branch on or let Lip get his 2 cents, as in, obviously he wasn't trying to get that application for himself. The only reason why he was hanging out with that guy is to butter him up for Ian. But before he could probably get his 2 cents in about, like, hey, I want you to check out my brother, the guy was like, I like you instead. So, like, it's, like, sucks on both of their parts, because I was like, Lip doesn't want to go there, and Ian doesn't know that, but Lip knows that, but the recruiter doesn't know about Ian yet, but it sucks for both of them, and it, like, hurts, because I'm like, they just want to do it.
And so, yeah, of course, every relationship problem, be it familial or his relationships, gets solved with Ian's fists. And they continue that into season 11, apparently.
The boys just keep fucking fighting.
You know, if they ever had, like, Lip swinging on Tammy or Kev swinging on V, it would be an entirely different situation.
Oh, yeah. It would be, like, a whole domestic violence, like, fucking, like, 3-part episode dealing with it. But no, Mickey and Ian can beat the life out of each other, and they're like, love you!
Boys doing boy things. Like, no, that's not good. And sorry, we're never gonna stop getting off Ian and Mickey tangents. We never are. We never will. We're built different. Like, so Ian gets up and leaves Lip laying in the bathtub with the shower pouring down on him. And Ian's like, I don't need your fucking help. I will make it into West Point on my own. And you know what Ian could use right now? His boyfriend. We miss you, Mickey. Back at the ball house, V comes home. We find out that Kev had to yell for 20 minutes naked, handcuffed to that weight bench before Malik heard him and picked the handcuffs that were holding him down. And V's like, you're letting Ethel hang out with a boy who knows how to pick handcuffs? And V's like, I can't believe I didn't know that you didn't know how to read, Kev. And Kev basically explains that he's dyslexic. He's like, I bounced around in the foster system and, like, nobody ever fixed it. So I'm trying to fix it. Like, I love you.
He's so cute. And, like, I hate that V didn't, like, believe him at first, but, like, at least, like, she's like, damn.
I can't believe I didn't know that you were dyslexic. And he's like, our anniversary is coming up and I wanted to write you a card. He's like, the kids always, like, do my taxes and my cards and stuff. I wanted to write you a card myself for our anniversary. I'm like, that is so fucking cute.
I love them so much. They're, like, the only, like, straight couple I care about. Out of all of television.
Because the other straight couples that I care about, at least one of them is queer. Like, Jake Peralta and Amy Santiago, that's a bi. He's a bi king. I don't know what you're talking about. That's a bi king right there. Chidi Adagonye and
we love to see that.
Eleanor Shellstrop from The Good Place, that's a bi queen right there. Not convinced Chidi's completely straight either. I could go on a whole thing.
Any queer characters I like are in question if they're canon or not. So don't.
I decide you're queer until you prove to me you're not. That's my. You have to come out as a hetero to me.
No one's cis unless you actually... I mean, no one's straight unless you say you are.
Oh, that too. No one's cis unless you say so.
Everyone is non-binary until they correct me.
Non-binary and queer until proven otherwise. Until proven otherwise.
See how it feels, sissies? This is the default.
That's the gay agenda right there.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So then over to the party for the woman who killed her abusive husband. There is a piñata of the piece of shit that the entire neighborhood gets to take a whack at. This party sounds amazing.
This party's so lit, and I'm so mad they don't have anything like this in later seasons, because I'm like, a community coming together, celebrating a woman taking control and power, beating up a fucking predator, like, hell yeah.
Good ass barbecue.
A good ass barbecue. That food looks so good.
The detective at the barbecue is there with her girlfriend, and Frank tries to brush over everything with her, and she's like, yeah, you might have gotten away with that. I still think Eddie's death is suspicious. And Frank's like, well, try to prove it. She's like, I'm fucking will. That's my literal job. And then Carl is straight up bragging at the party that Frank killed Eddie.
I love Carl.
And then over at the other end of the party, Hank is drunk, 11 years old, drunk.
He's drinking like a 40. He's drinking like a fucking like malt 40. And I'm like, oh, that poor boy gonna have a... Oh.
And he's bitching because Holly stood him up. And Debbie's like, well, I'm here. And she goes over and tries to take care of him because she's a caretaker, because she's got daddy issues. And then Jody sticks his entire face in a grill trying to get it to light because he's a himbo and we love and appreciate him. And then Karen goes up to him for a hug and like he comforts her, and like honestly they're very sweet. I don't love her that much, but they're really cute.
They're cute when Karen isn't talking.
Yes. And then the Holly girl this girl is like fully maybe 12 or 13, comes up to Lip and flirts by saying she got a morning after pill from her sister. And take lesson, kids, even though Lip is upset and drunk, he still chooses not to flirt or have sex with a minor.
We love a smart king.
Turns out it's super easy to just not do that. Who would have known?
Who would have thought?
Instead, he walks away and he picks a fight with a super buff dude because he's like, you know what I need right now is pain. So he gets his shit rocked by starting a fight with the guy who was apparently a kid of the woman that killed her abusive husband. He needs to feel something, so he just chooses to get his ass kicked. Sheila also needs to feel something. Frank comes in with a plate from the barbecue for her and like sits. She's like, you brought me food from the barbecue? Very cute. He tries to get her to come downstairs to eat. She ignores that. And she says, the silver lining in Eddie's death is that I'm free to marry now. And then Frank, like, nervously laughs and backs his way out of the room.
That's what you get, Frank.
From consequences to rewards, at the ball house, V comes in the room wearing nothing but Post-its on her body for Kev to read and then remove.
It's so cute. They're like on like her nipples and like her like little... My favorite part is like when he's trying to read the navel.
Yeah. He's like, 2 more until I get to your hoo-ha. But there's one, it's blink and you miss it because it's not in the second shot of it, but the one over her heart says Kev.
I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them.
So cute. I'm like gonna cry. It's so cute.
I'm already crying.
Back at the barbecue, Malik brings Ethel a treat and says her father, because he told her that his dad is also in prison. He's like, my dad and my uncle in prison, they're gonna take care of your husband, Clive. And she's like, oh, thank you, because she thinks it means they're gonna get him his heart medication. No, because we cut to a scene in prison showers where the guy says, this one's from Ethel, and then fucking stabs that man.
Yep, they shiv him.
As he deserves. Just stabs him. Then, again, back at the barbecue, everyone's having a great time, but Lip is beat up and sad and losing his shit, so he stumbles away from the party to go to smoke under the L. And, like, as we're seeing him stumble, we see the town car Fiona is in pass by. And then Fiona pulls up to her house with her date, and he sees where she lives now. And then he still asks her to dinner and offers for her to keep the necklace. And she's like, no, I would simply pawn that for grocery money. So you keep that. And then she turns around. She's about to walk into the house, and Jimmy Steve walks down the stairs of the house next door.
Guess who's here?
Which is a casual, hey, like they saw each other yesterday. Like, hey, walking out of the house that he gave to Tony, just chilling. And her date, she's struck. She's like, what? What the what? And then Fiona's date drives away, and she and Steve just sort of stare at each other. And Tony isn't home, so he asks where Tony is, and she just doesn't say anything. And then he tells her she looks great, and then he gets in a fancy car, and he drives away. And then we cut to credits. What?
The audacity? The audacity!
The Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this bitch. And then the after credit scene is Karen taking a piss on her dad's gravestone, which is her right.
Her right. That scene is so funny. It's literally her just, like, crouched over it, just like, and then she gets up and walks away. I'm like, icon, I guess.
And then the credit song is Mission Control by the Wings.
Hell yeah.
That's it. That was the episode.
That was the episode.
How do we feel about it, Evan?
I like it. I feel like I always say, like, in the earlier seasons, I really missed all of, like, the family having, like, kind of, like, even though they have their own conflicting stories, we still get to see them all together a lot. Like, this was how I felt about this, like, episode. Because, like, even though they had all their contradicting things, like, they all were, like, at the barbecue, or they all were at the Gallaghers and stuff like that. But also, not enough E in this episode. He was there in one scene.
Yeah, I do love that there was, like, a little bit of everybody's storyline, and, like, that it was a little bit well spaced out. I could always do with less Frank. Less Frank is always my goal.
Yeah, less Frank. Frank-centric episodes, bored.
And Fiona's storyline was weird because it felt like we jumped in the middle of something that they actually never ended up showing us the beginning of.
And then they, like, stretched it out, but still didn't give us anything.
Yeah, that guy, it's not a spoiler, but that guy she went to the wedding with just disappears. I don't think we ever see him again.
I feel like we get some mention of him, or, like, another guy that, like, Jasmine tries to, like, have her meet up with again, but then I don't think we ever see them again.
Yeah. This episode was weird. It was a weird one. I love that barbecue. I wish that barbecue happened every season. I love that barbecue. I would like them to remember that barbecue happens so that we could just, like, get it in season 1. I don't know. I just want it. We're not going to because they're doing COVID in season 11, but still. It was fine. The next episode has Grammy Gallagher in the meth lab, so that's gonna be fun.
An emphasis on the amount of damage they can do to that house, and it somehow is still standing.
Oh, but Grammy Gallagher and Sheila, Grammy pulls some good shit out of Sheila. Like, it's fantastic.
She pulls another person out of Sheila. Like, I don't know that woman, but I love that woman.
Very excited for it. Only 2 more episodes until more Mickey. And of course Mike O'Malley writes that one. God damn it.
Mike O'Malley sometimes you overrates.
The writers, I'm, like, looking at my spreadsheet right now, the writers this season are, like, very consistent. They had a solid bench in the first few seasons.
I feel like they definitely had, like, after season 1, they were probably mapped out a bit more for season 2.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the episode. We're getting through season 2.
We got, 7 more episodes to go for season 2?
Yeah, that was episode 5. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 more.
Nice.
I know we're going slow and steady here, but we getting there. We doing it.
And also, I feel like that we shouldn't just release everything all at once, because it's building up to everything. So, like, enjoy this long intermissions with us.
We're not fly-by-night fans. Like, I know that the series is gonna end in a couple of months, and then some people will drop off and not go back to it, but, like...
We've already been here for, like, 6... You've been here longer than I've been here.
Since it began, for over a decade. This shit is in my bones.
I didn't start watching it until, like, 2015, but, like, my mom watched it when I was younger, so I remember seeing Ian and Mickey, like, on the TV and, like, seeing the show, but not really knowing what was going on until I started it again.
I don't know how to not love this show.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything stopping me from liking this show anymore. I got so disappointed with Supernatural that Shameless now has to be my comfort.
And, like, I got a comment on one of my TikToks that someone was like, if Shameless is trash, then I'm a raccoon, but at least I don't watch Riverdale. And then...
Alright.
I don't take any criticism. I watch Riverdale. I'm so excited for season 5 of Riverdale.
But yeah, so that was a pretty short one, especially all the cuts I'm gonna make. It was a pretty short one, but
yeah, even with all of our freaking distractions, that was one of the fastest episodes I think we went through.
Yeah, since the Casey one, since Debbie stole that baby, I think that might be our fastest one.
I think it's because like what I've noticed is that certain episodes, when it's not really like one main plot throughout the episode, when it's a bunch of small ones, it's easier to go through the scenes because the scenes happen faster. But like I feel like when it's like one character, we're following them through the episode, like a lot of like the Frank centric episodes from like season 1, like I feel like those just felt so drawn out.
And that's why like in season 10 the wedding episode felt so like clunk, because it was all like one goal, get these boys married. That was it. It was the whole like I'm excited. I'm like so excited. We're slowly picking up little listeners here and there, and we appreciate all of you.
We really do.
If you listen to our show, please tell other people to listen to our show. We would love to get more listeners. We would love to get more listeners so that we could maybe start making any money at all and maybe get better microphones or be able to do other stuff and more fun things.
And if you want to sponsor us, you can do
We have a Ko-Fi. It's in our link tree. Or I think it's linked on our website or Ko-Fi. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It will be linked as when this episode is released. Our Ko-Fi will be on our website.
But you know what is on the website now is my dissertation about Mickey Milkovich, and
it is
through the first 4 seasons of Shameless. I am very proud of it. It is up there now, and you can find our website in the bios of our Instagram and our Twitter, which are luckwehadpod. Just at luckwehadpod on Instagram and on Twitter. The Luck We Had Pod TikTok, and if you search up like the Luck We Had Pod on TikTok, it'll link you to my TikTok, which is at abnormalamanda_18. You can follow me on Instagram at abnormalamanda18, and you can follow me on Twitter at abnormalamanda. Where can they follow you, Evan?
And then you guys can go ahead and follow me on Instagram or TikTok at iwannadie4000. I do have a Twitter, which I don't use as much, but it is Internet Life Yo. So go ahead and follow me there as well. And as Amanda said, all of our links to our website is in our Twitter bio. And then honestly, if you just Google The Luck We Had, any service that we do have our podcast streaming on, it will show up. I just looked, and Stitcher and everything is there.
Yes, like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, a bunch of other like shoot off podcast things that people listen to on Androids. They're all there. We're everywhere. We're a little bit of everywhere.
We're everywhere. If you can't listen to us, yes, you can.
We're on YouTube. Sometimes the episodes drop a few days later on YouTube, but we are on YouTube, I promise. And I think they're even closed captioned on YouTube. They're not like perfect, but they're pretty good. I like let the closed captions run.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm also addicted to the new thread closed caption thing on Instagram. I use it on TikTok all the time. It's my favorite. But it's a short one, but we should get out of here.
Yeah, we should. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure to reach out to us if you have any questions or if you want to talk about the podcast with us as well. We would always love to hear what you have to say.
Or if you're watching the new season and you just need someone to yell at, just message us.
Please. It's us. Hit us up. We're here. We're talking. We'll be down to talk about this because we know other people will as well.
You can email us at luckwehadpod@gmail.com to just go the fuck off about what you thought about the episode.
Our email is on our website, so go ahead and you can find everything you need to contact us, to bully us, to talk to us about Shameless. You can find our information on the luckwehadpod.card.co.
Please don't bully us. But do subscribe, rate, and review, and be nice to us, please.
Yeah.
And by the time this airs, this will come out on Tuesday, so the episode will be the first episode of season 11 will be just a few days away, and we will have things to talk about when that airs. We'll be very excited. You'll either get a short episode drop from us if we have like a minute one time in the week to talk, or we'll add it to the front of one of our episodes. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there.
We'll see what happens.
But until then, thanks everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.